Hello everyone! In this video I'm going to talk about all of the best holistic habits that you can do. These are going to be daily habits that are highly recommended by most health experts for anyone who wants to live a healthy holistic lifestyle. So in this video I'm going to go through all of the best ones. This is going to help you focus on cutting out the stuff that doesn't really work and focusing on what does work. So, let us start with the question, what are holistic habits? They are daily self-care practices that you do on a daily basis to nourish your body, mind, and soul. So, there's a lot to unpack in this sentence, even though it's a very simple sentence. These are things that you will have to do daily, and when I say daily, I mean that it should be done every day, but if there's a day where you don't do some of these, it's not going to set you back too much. It's probably just going to make it so that you're not going to notice the results quicker, and that's why things are recommended for a daily basis. And even some of these are going to be long-term type activities that you will need to always work on in the background. So it's not so much of an actual activity as something in your life that you need to work on. But basically, you still want to focus daily on these things and give them some thought. And don't fall off the wagon when it comes to these things. If you do, then you will start to notice some what's the opposite of progression? Degression, where you might, fall back into your old habits, which is going to stop you from seeing the results. So basically, it's very simple. The more you do things, the better results you will have. And these are self-care practices because really, any habit that you do is to take care of yourself. It's really the underlying reason why we do anything. Why do you eat healthy? Why do you exercise? Those are self-care practices. And a lot of people misunderstand what self-care actually means. So I've got a separate video that's just about self-care if you want to learn more about that specifically. But self-care is not only things like taking a bubble bath and, things like pampering your body. Yes, those are included in self-care, but really anything that you do to nourish your body, mind, and your soul is self-care. Because all of these things make up who you are. You're not just a body, you're not just a mind, you're not just a soul, you're all three. And so you really need to look at it in a way that they are all you. And so anything that you do to help your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, they are all considered self-care. All right, so now that we've got that out of the way, let's start with the physical. These are going to be activities to help the health of your body. So those, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into what those are in a minute, but I just wanted to lay out the three areas. For anyone who's not familiar with what holistic actually means, it is physical, mental, and spiritual. So the physical things are going to be activities which are physical activities, like you are literally going to move your body. And then as far as mental goes, that is going to include practices to keep you happy and to keep your mind sharp. So these are not so much going to be physical effort activities. They are going to be basically just mental practices, and I'll get more into those too. And then when it comes to spiritual, any activity or practice that fulfills your soul, and that can include anything physical or mental. So there are many benefits of having daily habits. I'm going to go through them now just to give you some motivation, to give you some inspiration, and to answer the question of why. Why in the first place do we want to have daily habits? The first benefit is that you will actually see results. So this sounds like a self-explanatory one, and it sounds basic, and it is, because you are what you repeatedly do, and you will not become what you want to be unless you do the thing on a daily basis. And that is so crucial when it comes to building a lifestyle. So if you actually want to see results, then that is why it must be a daily thing, or at least working on it. You know, you don't want to do something once every 2 weeks. That's not what's going to get you results. Another benefit is that routines are good for your nervous system. This is something that any autistic person can tell you, and I know this firsthand because I am autistic. Routines are soothing for your nervous system, and routines will help you to eliminate anxiety. So there are countless benefits for improving your nervous system. Better digestion, better sleep, better immune health, if you're looking to boost your immunity. All of these things it'll almost be a night and day difference. If you are not taking care, if you're not doing things in a routine fashion, then you probably do notice issues with your digestion, with your sleep. You probably notice that you get sick a lot. So those things will all be helped. It's all related to the nervous system. And so when you have a routine, when you know what to expect, there's no surprises, then your health will benefit. Another benefit is that habits take less effort to do. This is a good one because everybody knows that when you start something, it's hard. It's hard to make change. Why is change hard? I've actually got a separate video on that. That's a whole different topic, but human beings struggle with change. That is why habits are magic. Once something becomes a habit, it no longer is hard. And that way you don't spend extra effort trying to improve your life. When things are already a habit, it becomes effortless. Another benefit of daily habits is that you will be more productive, which has many benefits in itself. So let's say you create a lifestyle of these daily self-care habits and you have your schedule is full. And when I say full, I don't mean you're going to be busy and rushing around trying to get the stuff done, because many of these things can be done at the same time. Many of these things are, like I said, you can be doing 3 of them at once. You can knock out a couple of them doing one activity. So it's not the productive that sounds scary. It's the productive that will make you feel good, because when you're done with your day, you can look back and say, wow, I didn't even notice that I did so many things, but I really did. And that's also where the habitual part of it helps, because when things are a habit, they're less effort, and that way you can be more productive with less effort. And then the last benefit is that your health and life will improve in all areas. And this is why the holistic part of it comes in, because we're going to talk about the body, the mind, and the soul, and that covers all areas. That will cover your social things. It'll cover financial things. It'll cover any area of your health and your life that you can think of. Everything will improve. And that's just why I love talking about holistic lifestyle, because it really covers everything. So now we're going to start with the physical, and I'm going to go through all of the habits that are going to help your body become more healthy. So the first one is you want quality food and water, and this is a very basic one, I know, and everybody's going to say, yeah, I already knew that, but this is so crucial that it's important for me to stress. So when it comes to healthy food, I say this all the time. If you've been following me a lot, you probably know this already. But for anyone that's new here, you really want to focus on whole foods. If you can get organic, like the Dirty Dozen is where you can start if you're not sure what to buy organic. You want to cook your food from scratch as much as possible. There's a lot of diets out there, but I think the best diet when it comes to having good recommendations for healthy food is the Mediterranean diet. And I've done videos on that as well if you want to learn more about that. But for now, I'll just say the Mediterranean diet is one of the most recommended diets from most experts. It includes a lot of vegetables, leafy greens, fruit, lean protein, whole grains, and using a lot of herbs and spices, which are really important too. So you really want to avoid sugar. You want to avoid foods that have been fried in fat. You want to avoid ingredients that you can't pronounce. It all becomes very basic and simple when you really learn what exactly it means to have quality food and water. And then when it comes to water, everybody knows that you should drink around 8 glasses a day, but most people don't do it, and so it's worth repeating. If you can get spring water or reverse osmosis water, that's the best. Purified water is also good. What you don't want is tap water. What you don't want is sodas, sugary drinks, fruit juices, and a lot of people get confused about that one. But really, fruit juice is just the sugar. It's not the fiber. So you don't want a rush of sugar going into your body, and that's why I've heard so many experts say that you should not juice your fruit. You can juice your fruit with vegetables, but I would never, there are occasions where it's good to juice your fruit when you're sick, if you are really, really low on energy, if your blood sugar is low and you need a quick burst of energy. But in general, try to eat your fruit whole. So that covers the food and water section. Now we're going to talk about movement and exercise. So I believe these are 2 separate words. So basically movement is literally moving at all. It's not where you are forcing yourself to work out. That would actually be considered exercise. But there are some exercises that are not like that. So there's so many exercises, and I really can't get that deep into that subject in this video. But I do have another video on exercise, especially for beginners, if you're looking for ideas and for guidelines on how to do that the correct way. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is sleep, and this is super, super crucial. If I had to pick actually everything that I'm going to talk about here is super crucial, but sleep, I am learning so much more about sleep than I ever knew. I can't even stress enough how crucial it is. But I have another episode or video I should say, on sleep if you want to go deeper on that. But it's worth checking out because there are so many things that sleep does for us that we don't even realize until after the damage has been done. And there are so many easy things that you can do to help your sleep, such as meditation, journaling, not using your screens. The blue light is a big deal, so you really want to get sunlight in the morning and avoid fake light at night. Basically, you want to have the absence of blue light at night. And like I said, watch that video on sleep and you will get so many tips on how to improve your sleep. It'll be a life changer for you. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is exposure to nature, and that does include sunlight, which I just briefly mentioned, but sunlight and air are crucial for our physical wellness in so many ways. And I have not done an episode on sunlight, but there are so many other good videos out there, and a really good video, channel that I watch where I learn a lot about sunlight is the Huberman Lab. What's his name? I'm blanking on his first name, but he's a really good guy to learn from when it comes to the science of sunlight. So make sure that you are getting about 20 minutes in the morning as soon as you get up, anytime before noon, pretty much. And I know a lot of people work nights, and I used to work nights, and that's not good for your health. I'm sorry to say that's one thing that you might want to push back on, but trust me, you will notice a difference if you start getting more sunlight and general exposure to nature. I talk about nature so much, and honestly, nature is crucial for the health of our body, mind, and soul. It's one of those things that's going to reach into all areas of your life and improve all areas. But I did include it here in the health section, or in the body section, because your physical body is so connected to the sunlight, so connected to nature, that it's that's the area that you will notice the biggest difference. So now I'm going to move on to mental health, and this also includes emotional, so anything that pertains to your mind and your emotions and the wellness of your mind. There's really no other way to say it. So let's get started with these. The first one is stress reduction, and this is a big category here. Stress reduction is probably the number one thing that you should focus on. Of course, everybody thinks of stress when they think of mental wellness. So some things that you can do every day would be to listen to music, laugh. Laughing is really good for your mental health. Of course, getting outside in nature, like I just mentioned, moving your body around, just exercise is good for stress reduction. Not being in a stressful relationship, and I will talk more about that in a minute too. But there's so many different things that you can do to reduce your stress that I do have another video on that as well. Just off the top of my head, a couple things that you could do would be meditation and journaling, and I talk about those a lot. So yeah, if you can just work on your stress reduction, that's going to be probably 75% of what makes your mental health better. Creativity and mind expansion, this is another big one. And I mention this because a lot of people don't think about this. When you think about your mental health, you probably do go right to the stress part of it. You don't really think about, exploring new hobbies and traveling and doing puzzles to keep your mind sharp, learning new hobbies, new skills like playing an instrument or drawing, painting, doing crafts, coming up with new ideas. Learning is a big one. So all of these things are really important for your mental wellness. The next one is work-life balance, and that means you just don't want to push yourself. Now, I want to recommend a book here that is going to drive this point home, and that is the book called Laziness Does Not Exist by Dr. Devin Price. It's an amazing, eye-opening book that made me realize something that, I already knew it, but I got burnt out on work because I was working 12 hours a day, sometimes 5 or 6 days a week, and I've even had jobs where I've worked every single day for 6 weeks in a row, 6 weeks with no day off. And that is what led to my burnout, and you do not want to burn out. That takes a long time to recover from, and I'm going to go back to the autistic thing because autistic people are prone to burnout more than other people because autistic people are more sensitive to everything. We get overloaded way easier, and so, you might find that this category doesn't pertain to you as much because maybe you are a workaholic and you love that, but I do want to urge you to be cautious. I don't think any human being should be working more than, I'm going to say 50, 55 hours a week, and that's a lot. But if your life revolves around your job, now that could go either way. Let's say your job is, you're a musician or you're an artist. That's a little bit different. But if your job is something stressful, if you're stressed out, and that goes back to the stress reduction thing. Try to work less if you can. Try to change jobs if you can, because burnout is a thing, and not too many people understand how crucial it is to have that work-life balance. So the last one here is community and solitude balance, which is something that I don't hear many people talking about. So we are social creatures, but on the other flip side of that, we also need time alone. Every human needs time in solitude, no matter how extroverted you are. Even if you're alone, if you consider yourself lonely, everybody feels lonely from time to time. But if you are around people 24/7 and you never get a break, that is not good for your mental health. And I've actually got, I might have a video on it. I might have done a podcast on it, but I've got an article on my blog, on my website about solitude. So you can check out more about the science of why we need solitude. But then, of course, there's the balance. We also need community. So make sure that you are getting both of those. So now we're going to move on to the spiritual daily tips here. And these are going to be habits that you can do to improve your soul. And so basically, spiritual things and your soul are things that you can't see, but you can feel. They are things that exist in another plane from the earth plane. So I'm going to go a little bit more now into what these habits would be, just to give you an idea, because some people out there might not know what things you can do, and even what many people don't focus on the spiritual. Many people focus just on the mind-body connection, so they might be thinking, what are spiritual habits? So let's get right into those. The first one is life purpose. This is one of my favorite ones to talk about, and I've got other videos on this and articles on this as well. I think it's so crucial, and I'm getting my information from studies that have proven that when you know what your life purpose is and you are actually living it, you are going to be happier and healthier. So you want to follow your heart, you want to try new hobbies. You want to learn about things that light you up. You can volunteer if you don't want to get a job in something, just to get your feet wet and see if it's something that you love. There's so many ways to learn your life purpose. And I'm not going to talk too much about that because that's, like I said, I've talked about that a lot. The next thing is knowing yourself. And this actually ties in with the life purpose, because your spiritual wellness depends on how connected you are to your higher self. And when I say higher self, that means what drives you, what you feel that you came here to do. Do not lose yourself in the world. So what that means is, and that goes back to, that's why people need solitude sometimes, because you absorb everything from people around you. You absorb everything from the media. If you are constantly on social media, if you are constantly around other people telling you their opinions, and it just becomes overwhelming and you can't hear the sound of your own voice. And so this is why I talk about journaling so much, because when you are journaling, you are getting to know yourself. Of course, you are alone then when you're doing it, so it's a double whammy of really getting to know yourself and really getting in that solitude. Very crucial for the spiritual wellness. The next thing I'm going to talk about is connection to nature again, because yes, this is very crucial to everything. And so now I'm going to talk a little bit about why connection to nature is so important to your spiritual wellness. Spirituality and nature are connected, and I've done a video on this, and I have an article on this as well, because we are spiritual beings, but we're also physical beings, and connecting those two together is what helps us feel whole. You're probably not going to be happy or healthy if you are always indoors, and you're not getting that connection to what we are made of. So we are made of all of the same elements that everything in nature is made of. So like I said earlier, having that connection to nature is going to help your physical health, of course, and it's going to help your mind. All of these things, we know deep down inside, our bodies know, our minds know, and our souls know that nature is that crucial. It's just that we live in a world that does not value the connection to nature. There's actually a disorder called nature deficit disorder, and I've got an article on that too. And it's something that most people don't know about and most people don't think about. So I love to talk about it because it's that crucial. So some things you can do to connect to nature would be things like just going for a walk. If you can't do anything else, just going for a walk is good enough. You can also go camping. Camping is one of the healthiest things you can do for your body, mind, and soul. And I've also got an article and video on that as well. Planting a garden, planting a tree, walking barefoot on the earth, which is called earthing or grounding. That's also super crucial to do. Meditating outside is another great way to do that. So there are countless ways that you can connect to nature. So now I'm going to go to the last one here, and that is a higher power connection. Whether or not you consider yourself a spiritual person, you can still enjoy this deep connection to whatever it is that you believe is the higher power. What do you believe? Do you believe that nature is all there is? Because that's a thing, you know, that's something that a lot of spiritual people are into, just the fact that nature is what everything is and there's nothing else. So you can actually deepen your connection to source by deepening your connection to nature. You can also be involved in a religion if you would like. I'm not here to tell anybody not to be in a religion. However, it's a different thing. But you can, if you can get the connection from that, if that's what helps you, then do that. Attend church, or whatever the equivalent is for you. Being out in nature is church to some people. So that kind of sums up the spiritual side. So if you are interested in learning more healthy habits, I've got a playlist where I go deeper into each of these with these videos. So check those out and be sure to subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.